Hi everybody and welcome back to another Legends of Runeterra video and gameplay. The newest patch notes were just released here, patch 1.11 for Legends of Runeterra. As you can remember from the last patch, they hinted toward changes to Aurelion Sol, to Grandfather Rumel, and to Hush, so we can fully expect to see those in this patch and card updates here, and I'm mostly going to be going over the buffs and changes to the cards to see how that's going to, I guess, change some of the meta and change some of the decks that we are playing. I fully expect a little bit of a nerf to Targon and some of these kind of I guess oppressive units and spells like Aurelion Soul and Hush. So without further ado, let's get into this. So very first up, we've got Aurelion Soul. So to level up Aurelion Soul at the round in, your allies have 20 plus total power, and it's being changed to your allies have 25 or more total power. So this is a nerf. I kind of thought it was going to be a buff because it kind of talked about the difficulty rather than the easiness, and but I guess it was talking about making it more difficult to level up Aurelion Soul. So yeah, 5 more power. That's a pretty significant buff, I would say. This kind of limits how much, like, the cards that you are going to be able to play in this sort of deck style, and then also the kind of, it will influence the celestials that you end up picking as well, and maybe picking more powerful celestial units. This could probably put you back a turn with leveling up Aurelion Soul. So the interesting thing about Aurelion Soul is that he's basically a turn 10 play, unless you have other ways of pulling him out, but he's a 10 turn play. And so at 10 turn, that basically limits you to playing Aurelion Soul, and he's going to be most likely your most powerful unit at the moment. There could be some exceptions where you've got other powerful units out. Yeah, and so the next round, you want to play a heavy unit as well, and so that takes up a lot of your mana, of course. Yeah, even if it's a celestial, so you could spend 8, 9, or 10 mana, so that will put you back another round before you can level up Aurelion Soul, considering you don't have a very good board state to begin with. If you've protected it, maybe you only need one more round, but I would say that this is probably on average going to put Aurelion Soul's level up one round back. So it's going to take one more round to level up Aurelion Soul, which is a pretty significant nerf, because once Aurelion Soul is leveled up and he gets those 0 cost celestial cards, he becomes really oppressive, really hard to get rid of, and this kind of one round nerf to his level up, I think, is going to go a really long way in helping you to beat an Aurelion Soul deck. Gives you one extra turn to, I guess, control the board as well, and be able to get rid of Aurelion Soul before he can level up, which is super important. Yeah, I think this is overall pretty healthy for the game, I would say. I think Aurelion Soul is a pretty oppressive champion as it is. He's really strong, and as soon as he levels up, basically the game's over. So this kind of gives you an extra chance to finish off the game before he levels up, or potentially take him out. Gives you an extra round, so if you like running Shadow Isles, you can use, like a Vile Feast of Vengeance to take out Aurelion Soul before he levels up. One more round, so a pretty significant nerf, I would say. Alright, so let's go into followers and spells here. The first one is a nerf to the Radiant Guardian. So let's read the text here. A triggered Radiant Guardian can shut down games and be too deterministic in the outcome of certain matchups. And we want there to be more wiggle room for opponents to beat the card beyond just playing around its condition. We're preserving Radiant Guardian's staying power while reducing her attack and lifesteal potential, which will allow opposing units and champions, Darius and Hecarim, to make more profitable attacks when she's on the board. Alright, so they want, I guess, champions to be able to trade into her a little bit more efficiently. So, yeah, both Hecarim and Darius have only 5 health, and so if the Radiant Guardian's down, it's a pretty big counter. So not only do they heal their Nexus 5 damage when she's got that lifesteal on her, that she takes out your champions as well, which can feel really bad. And Radiant Guardian is probably one of the strongest cards from Demacia. Her, along with kind of the important spells from Demacia, the targeted strikes, so single combat, concerted strike, and judgment, all of those really help Demacia out, and can completely change the game, make it impossible for you to damage the Nexus enough in order to win the game. I don't know necessarily that the reduction in health, or in lifesteal is going to be super important because a lot of times you're overhealing anyway. But besides that, she's going to get multiple procs off anyway. It's really hard to take out Radiant Guardian without something like a Vengeance, just because she's got 5 health and tough. It's a really, really hard card to take out. And so, I mean, her getting multiple procs off still is going to happen. They just said that her staying potential, did it say? Yeah, just her ability to stay on the board is still going to be there because they're not reducing the health. Her getting multiple procs off with her life still is going to happen. It's not going to reduce, the healing will reduce, but a lot of time you're overhealing anyway. So I don't know that the nerf is going to be a huge impact, and I don't know even how often Darius and Hecarim actually attack into the Radiant Guardian. Just saying that in general, because a lot of people aren't playing Darius and Hecarim, and I don't know that that's singularly based on Radiant Guardian being overpowered. So we'll see if we get, I guess, Darius and Hecarim out more often, but I don't know that that's necessarily going to change the playability of those two champions. I think we need other buffs to them and to maybe Ephemeral for Hecarim. All right, Inspiring Mentor is getting, he's getting his stats shifted around. So he was a 1-2, he is now a 2-1. Let's see what it says. Aggressive Ionian strategies haven't been able to make great use of Inspiring Mentor since we last adjusted it. With this change and the one to Pix below, we're looking to give Ionia aggro decks a bit more early power. Alright, so there's going to be most likely a buff to Pix as well, but this allows, I guess, the Inspiring Mentor to trade a little bit better into like higher health units. They want to make Ionia a little bit more aggro, so this gives him a little bit more potential early game. But then again, you're trading this with he basically doesn't trade well into anything now though. So you're kind of depending on the meta too. So you have 1 health. There is basically no unit in the game now that cannot trade into the Inspiring Mentor. You do need a 1-cost unit to put down. And so, how many, I guess, decks are running 1-cost units at the moment? I suppose not very many because a lot of them are control-based, but he's not really going to trade into anything now either. So I don't know how much this is actually going to help in an Ionian aggro deck. So, I don't know. I'm kind of iffy about this. I don't really care. I don't know that it's going to make that much of a difference, to be honest. I guess we'll see what Pix is. Okay. We want Pix to be more resilient and create more opportunities for support decks to do their thing. So Pix is getting a buff in health. It is now a 0-2 instead of a 0-1. Yeah, I don't really know. So you can take an extra hit from a 1-powered unit. I don't really know how impactful that's going to be honest. How often does Pix trade into a unit that has only 1 attack power? Probably not very often. I know a lot of people aren't running Pix in general, but I mean 1 health. We'll see if this how far this goes. I don't know that this is going to be a huge change either. Yeah, just 1 to 2 health. I mean, does help its survivability against certain spells like Vile Feast, Make It Rain, all of the 1 damage spells out there. So Pix should be able to get more, I guess, reliable attacks or supported attacks out. Okay, so the problem with this, okay, I kind of figured this out. Okay, so on turn 1, you have a Pix. You play Pix on turn 1, either attacking or defending. So he's going to be a little bit better at, I guess, defending attacks now on turn 1. If they've got a 1-powered unit, right, you can trade into that. If it's a 2, then you just are trading your Pix for it. But on turn 1, it's a 0-2 unit you're playing down on your attack turn, so you do not attack because you have 1 unit out and it's not dealing any damage, right? Okay, and so fast forward, you have to wait till turn 3 to get any use out of this. Okay, so it's a 0-2 on turn 3. You have to have played another unit to open attack and get some value out of this before he plays a card on turn 3. And any card that costs 3 is going to be able to take out Pix. So if you don't attack, then Pix is going to die. So are we getting actual extra value out of Pix. I would say not a ton of extra value because he's not going to be able to trade into anything now anyway. Doesn't matter. I don't know that this is going to be enough. I think they might need to give it one extra health or attack. Just give it an attack so it can trade into things and not feel super bad. I would rather it have mid made a 1-1 rather than a 0-2. Yeah, you just don't get value out of turning or playing it on turn 1. And there are plenty of 1-cost units now. I mean, we can look at the Inspiring Mentor that can take out Pix. They've got 2 attack, you know, they can take out Pix on their own on turn 1 and you get absolutely no value out of it. So I don't know if this is a big enough change. Alright, Jack the Winner is getting a nerf. He is going from 6 health to 5 health. Let's see. Jack the Winner's health made him too effective at slowing down games and taking full advantage of the inevitability created through Sleep with the Fishes, while also making him generally difficult to remove. I kind of agree with that. His 6 health was massive. It allowed you to get extra value out of Sleep with the Fishes. He was a target for it if you didn't have other units down to use it on, like with regeneration, like Braum or the Trolls, or you know, he was mostly being used in Bilgewater aggro decks with Gangplank, so a plunder enabler as well as a level up condition for Gangplank. Yeah, and it was pretty oppressive. He could use it on himself, he could use it on another unit, and he could pretty much trade into any other 5-cost, and 6-cost for that matter, unit that is in the game and not die from it, as well as taking them out. A 5-6 stat line was massive, really hard to take out. He was pretty strong, so I'm pretty happy with this. He trades more evenly into other 5-cost units now. Yeah, so there's that. I pretty much agree with that. All right. Petty Officer getting nerfed from 2 to 1 health. So originally he was a 3-1. Now he was a 3-2, which pretty much auto-included him into every Bilgewater deck. Super hard to get rid of. He pretty much was able to trade evenly with any other 3-cost unit, so super powerful. Bilgewater is pretty powerful now because it's a counter, basically known as a counter to Targon. Let's see what this says. This is a revert to a change we made several months ago. Since Petty Officer is currently offering just too much raw stat power given its versatility, it was a bit too powerful in both controlling and aggressive Bilgewater strategies, so we're reining in some of the baseline value it offers while preserving its overall flexibility. Yeah, it was pretty strong. Auto-include in pretty much any Bilgewater deck. Bilgewater has been given quite a few nerfs in the past couple of patches, so it is kind of, I don't know, maybe a little bit too much of a nerf to Bilgewater just because it is seeing a lot of play right now since it does counter Targon. We'll see how, if this will allow other regions, along with the nerfs to Targon, if this is going to allow other regions to become more powerful now. Be kind of interesting to see. Alright, Bastion, let's see what happens here. Old text, give an ally spell shield this round. New text, grant an ally +1/+1 and spell shield. Alright, this is kind of interesting. This is actually kind of an exciting buff, if I'm being honest. So Bastion didn't see a whole lot of play. You did see it every once in a while in certain decks, but like in, I guess where I see this mostly in is the Lee Sin deck from Targon, the new one. I saw Bastion quite a bit in those sort of decks, and so this may be a little bit concerning, to be honest, because we are not nerfing, from the looks of it, Lee Sin decks, Lee Sin Targon at all. We'll kind of see what these other cards are, but this is a buff to that archetype. You're granting Lee Sin more stats plus spell shield. Yeah, let's see what they have to say about this. This sizable buff is intended to both position Bastion as a core card within Targon and provide a boost to Targon buff decks. The new design should also work much better with Taric or other decks that benefit from proactively casting spells. Yeah, so this is definitely a buff to Taric decks because you're granting both of your units +1/+1 Taric and his supported ally as well as spell shield. And it is, okay, so here's another thing. The old text, spell shield this round, new text, no this round. This is a permanent spell shield until it gets procced, which is massive. This is a massive buff to Bastion. This is like an insane buff. This is going to be auto-include pretty much now. Now that Hush is being nerfed, this is going to be an auto-included in every Targon deck. This is insane. Yeah, and they are saying that they want this to be a core card within Targon. So they want this to be a core card in a Targon deck. Yeah, this is an insane buff, but also I'm a little bit worried about Lee Sin decks. This, like, how are you going to remove Lee Sin now? This is going to last until it's procced. Lee Sin is going to be, I think, still a very oppressive champion this patch, and I don't know that that's going to change anytime soon. Alright, Cosmic Inspiration. Old text. If you behold a celestial card, grant allies everywhere +2/+2. Refill your spell mana. New text. If you behold a celestial card, grant allies everywhere +2/+2. So this is a nerf. It looks like you're not refilling your spell mana. You're getting 3 mana, I guess, back. Yeah, there's just a nerf to that. I don't know how often this was used anyway. Let's see what they say. The mana refund on Cosmic Inspiration circumvented many of the costs associated with invoking and could feel too polarizing in certain slower matchups. Alright, so yeah, just a kind of healthy nerf to this. I didn't really see it too often. I think I maybe, like in the last patch, playing even against a lot of like control and invoke decks, I saw maybe opponents use it once or twice, not too often. But yeah, they're just trying to make it a little bit healthier and less polarizing. So I don't really have anything bad to say about that sort of nerf. All right, Grandfather Rumble. This was promised here. So play, we grant an ally +0/+4, and the new text, we're granting 2 allies +0/+4. So we are multiplying his ability by 2, which is pretty cool. So they said he was going to give more hugs, so obviously he's granting more health to people. Grandfather Rummel hasn't been matching up well against other expensive followers, so we're doubling down on his playability. I still don't know that the extra health that late in the game is very impactful. So who are you going to play this on? Because this doesn't really help. Even like if you were playing Aurelion Soul, this doesn't help his level up condition because that's based solely on like attack power. So I mean, what is the extra health benefit at that point in the game? Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know how to assess this card without playing it and seeing if it actually will work and help Grandfather Rummel's effectiveness. I don't really see it being a super big change, but I could be completely wrong. All right, Hush. Let's see here. Silence a unit this round. Create a fleeting Hush in hand. New text. Silence a unit this round. Create a fleeting Hush in hand that costs 1 more. All right, so we're just getting. It's more expensive the more times you play it. So you get 3 the first time, 4 the next time, 5 the next time. So what is that? 3 + 4, 7 + 5 is 12. So you can play 3 Hushes normally. I mean, unless you draw it like on something like a progress day, then you could get more Hushes off, but in general you're only going to be able to play 3 Hushes around, which will take up all of your mana as well and limit, I guess, what other card you can play in the round, so that's nice. I do find this card was pretty oppressive, so I'm pretty happy with this nerf. I think it will definitely limit the effectiveness of it. You're still going to be able to, I guess, hush the same amount of units, but this is also a nerf to that Ezreal deck with the Tribeam Improbulator, so just keep that in mind. Tribeam Improbulator, which gains extra power by using 3 cost cards, so because you are raising the cost each time you play it, you're not going to get the 3 procs off each time. This could actually be an interesting card with Heimerdinger because you get more expensive turrets as well each time you use it. Yeah, it'd be kind of interesting to see how that works out with that deck, but definitely need a nerf. This limits what the opponent can do after using Hush. Yeah, so I like it quite a bit. Alright, and it looks like the last one here we got is a buff to the Mountain Goat. It's getting 1 extra health, which is nice, so we're going to get multiple procs off, multiple gems out of this Mountain Goat. I didn't like the 1 health stat line to begin with. It was too easily taken out by spells, so this is actually super nice. So we are guaranteed basically to get 1 gem out of this card and trade evenly into other spells like a Mystic Shot. Mystic Shot is a 2-cost spell. Mountain Goat is a 2-cost, so you'll need at least a 2-cost spell to take it out, which is super nice. So Yeah, we might see Mountain Goat more often in decks now and producing our gems. Also, this makes it a lot easier to buff them up with the support units from Targon and with Taric, and just kind of becoming a gem generator, which is pretty cool. This is a general usability buff aimed at letting Mountain Goat both provide more consistent access to gems and act as a better potential target for buff-heavy decks. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah, this allows him just to become a little bit more reliable, be able to have a board presence, and be able to be a buff target, as well as generating spells that you can use later down the line. This is kind of an indirect buff to Taric decks. This is an indirect buff to the Arbiter of the Peak. Things like that. So I think overall this is a pretty healthy buff for the Taric style decks that we see from Targon. Alright, and yeah, I'm not really going to go over this other stuff. This has already been kind of a long video. I'm pretty happy with these changes overall. I don't find them to be super, besides maybe the Hush. This one was definitely needed though, and I like it, but this was probably the biggest nerf to any and change to any of the cards here. That's going to have, actually, and Bastion. I'll say Bastion too. Bastion and Hush. So we're kind of replacing Hush with Bastion, I think, now. They do want to create a strong card from Targon, so that's why we are getting a huge buff to Bastion. Bastion is going to be auto-included now. Hush, I think you'll still see, but yeah, it's going to be less oppressive. Going to be in deck still, but not as a, I guess, yeah, oppressive of a card. So pretty happy with all the changes here. Yeah, pretty excited as well to start playing Taric again with Bastion and including this into more of those decks. And Mountain Goat. I want to play around Mountain Goat here. Yeah, pretty excited about this. As far as the meta, I think that Lee Sin is still going to be reigning the meta. There was no nerfs to him. In fact, there were buffs, so I think it's going to be even harder to take him out now with Bastion. Yeah, I think we're going to see Lee Sin a lot more. Anyway, yeah, so that's about it for this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and we will see you tomorrow. Thanks.